everyone, long time no see, welcome back. If this is your first time on this channel today, my name is Sophia and I am a Russian-American dual citizen who grew up in the United States and who has been spending the last 7 or so months living in Russia working here. This is a video I've been incredibly nervous about making and is quite a deviation from my typical type of content. To be honest, this past month I've been taking a big step back from YouTube due to the obvious current political events happening in our world between Russia and Ukraine. But today I really wanted to talk with you guys about the current situation in Moscow, Russia, and how day-to-day life has sort of changed for typical Russians living here. I don't really want to go into what is happening with Russia and Ukraine. To be honest, I've been feeling very gaslit by all forms of media, especially living in Russia. Just to set the tone for why I am very nervous about speaking about these things, the Russian media censorship agency, they put out a statement saying that you are not allowed to call what is happening in Ukraine an attack, an invasion, or a declaration of war. Various forms of Western media, social media have been blocked in Russia. For a couple weeks, Facebook has been down, Twitter has been down, and as of yesterday, March 14th, Instagram has also gone down. Now these are all available with a VPN still. I'm still able to access Instagram with a VPN, but the thing with the VPN is, at least the ones I'm using, the Russian internet broadband providers are really throttling them. So when I have the VPN on my laptop, it's really slow, borderline unusable. If I want to load up Facebook, for example, it's going to take a good 10 minutes to get everything loaded up. The general air in the streets of Moscow right now is quite nervous and anxious. I can see on the metro people are really nervous. Whenever I sit on the metro, people are just on their phones scrolling through their Telegram news feeds. There's quite a significantly increased police presence in the city center, and especially when you get to Red Square, Pushkin Square, where there have been significant protests. There have been police checks. Police have been known to walk up to people and demand to scroll through their phone, see what sort of Telegram chats they're in, see if they're planning on meeting up to go to any protesting activities. And yeah, there have been quite a few protests. Particularly in Pushkin Square, there's been quite a lot of protesting activity and lots of subsequent arrests, as you would expect. Russia's not a country where you have true freedom to assemble and protest. Even if you're just standing there with a blank sign, you will get taken away, and it has happened and it has been caught on video. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the sanctions and the current economic situation in Moscow. The first thing that immediately started happening when the situation started escalating was people going to Tinkoff ATMs and their bank ATMs and withdrawing cash. Now, Russia is no stranger to economic crisis. It's happened multiple times in the past century. So what Russians will do, as well as in other countries that are facing significant financial instability, is take out cash because the banks cannot be trusted. And in particular, these people will take out USD. At these ATMs, there were instances of super long lines, people waiting for a very long time to get cash out, as well as ATMs running out of cash and USD. Everyone has been trying to convert their rubles to USD or get it out of the country somehow. And one of the biggest things that has happened that has significantly affected the Russian population has been the SWIFT bans. If you're not aware, SWIFT is the instant economic exchange. I'm not sure if I'm putting that correctly, but basically it is the way to instantaneously transfer funds to and from Russia. So for example, I was able to send rubles to New Zealand in the week before all of this happened, and it was pretty much instantaneous. Took about a day and I was able to get all my money through, no hassle, without having to use an intermediary such as Western Union or Union Pay. In addition to SWIFT being turned off in Russia, Visa and MasterCard have also withdrawn their services from Russia. If you are in Russia and you have a Russian bank with a Visa or MasterCard, they should still work, but your cards will not work outside of the country. And if you have a foreign Visa or MasterCard, those cards will not work in Russia. If you're a foreigner, for example, in Moscow, and you only have an American Visa card and you want to take out cash from an ATM, it will not work. You are completely cut off. This has been a very sticky situation for quite a lot of people. I'm in a couple expat expat groups in Moscow, and there's been some shady exchanges going on. People have been getting scammed trying to convert their rubles to USD and vice versa. And finally, something that I think is quite a bit more serious for Russians on the individual level is PayPal being turned off. I have quite a few friends in Moscow who work for international companies and they get paid through PayPal, and they've been completely cut off from all of their earnings. It's been very tricky trying to negotiate getting their money out into some sort of non-Russian bank account when they only have a Russian bank account. This is going to be really devastating for a lot of people, and I know lots of Russians work on a freelance basis through Upwork or Fiverr, for example. And this is also really tricky because the services in those countries, they're not working in Russia anymore. So a lot of people are being cut off from their income, which is really, really unfortunate. Because of all of these financial sanctions and Visa and MasterCard being withdrawn, the ruble has really, really crashed. I don't want to give out what my exact salary was, but I got paid in rubles and my salary went down in value almost 1,000 US dollars. Something that has been happening to combat Visa and MasterCard pulling out of Russia has been the switch to Mir cards. Mir is a Russian equivalent of Visa and MasterCard, and a lot of people are switching to that because that is something that is guaranteed to continue working in Russia as well as with partner countries. I know for a fact in Dubai they are now accepting Mir cards. As well as with all of these financial sanctions, a lot of consumer brands have been pulling out of Russia. I'll include a list of a lot of brands that have pulled out, and it's quite considerable. And because of this, you've been seeing a lot of store closures and prices of goods increasing. I know, for example, Apple's no longer sending any new products to Russia at all, and because of this, you just see an incredible increase in the prices, sometimes even double the value of what it was originally. A lot of clothing brands have pulled out, H&M, Zara, etc. I had a walk around Zoom, which is the premier department store in Moscow. All the best brands are in there: Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Celine, everything is in there, and all of those brands have left. Moscow had a very healthy mall culture, amazing, beautiful new shopping malls all over the city, and it's quite shocking walking through those because so many brands have pulled out. It's so odd walking through and seeing huge stores like H&M just completely empty. And a lot of stores are still in the process of pulling out. For example, Uniqlo. Uniqlo has stated they're going to be closing in the next couple days. And because of this, there's just been an absolute mad rush to get goods from Uniqlo. I walked through the mall and I walked past one of these stores and the line was so long. I've seen the same in Victoria's Secret. IKEA pulled out of Russia, and in the days before they left, people were running to IKEA to get everything they needed. McDonald's also pulled out of Russia, as well as multiple other fast food brands. And McDonald's is something that has been pretty significant in Russia. The first McDonald's opened in 1990 in Moscow at Pushkin Square. And there's photos from back then of the opening with the super long lines out the door, and it's so crazy looking at these pictures and looking at the footage now of people running to McDonald's to get their last food from there. And you can see the same long lines. With all these stores closing, you're also gonna see some serious job losses. McDonald's stated that they had about 62,000 workers employed in Russia all throughout, working at their storefronts and offices, and all of these people are going to be losing their jobs. McDonald's did say they're gonna continue paying them, but we're not sure for how long, because who knows when McDonald's and these other Western brands are gonna return to the country. And like I mentioned before with the Apple products, there's been crazy inflation. You can see it in the supermarkets with cleaning goods, with food. Russia is a country that does rely heavily on imported goods, and all of these imported goods are going to have a much more difficult time coming into the country, and they're going to get more and more expensive. Coffeex, which is the cheapest coffee shop in Moscow, you could get a small cup of coffee for 60 rubles, and people have been going to those shops to get their coffee, and they've noticed that the cheapest size coffee, the smallest one, has increased by 30% to 90 rubles. And I think this is just an early sneak peek of what is in store for Russia. I haven't personally seen this, but I have seen videos, and I'll include them here, of people fighting over sugar as well as other staples. I'm guessing these are a lot of older Russians who have experienced true food shortages, so they're just stocking up on things. And there have been signs posted around stores limiting customers to how many things they can buy. Russians have also been leaving the country in masses, in particular young Russians who don't agree with the political regime at the moment. Most of the people I know are completely against what is happening in Ukraine. People have been cut off from all of their money that they make abroad. They're being cut off from visas, opportunity to study in universities abroad. They're having a difficult time even getting out of the country. You know, I had to buy a ticket for a girl desperate to leave Russia because her visa card was declined on an airline's website just because it was a Russian visa card. I know tons of people who've left the country. I think most people who I've been in contact with online, other people who make YouTube videos or on social media, they've left. And the places they are going to are places such as Azerbaijan, Georgia, Uzbekistan, Turkey, UAE, basically anywhere that the airspace is still open. All of Europe and North America are closed to Russia at the moment. The only ways out are through the countries I mentioned before, plus a few others, and this has significantly affected the airline industry. Aeroflot in Russia, which is the biggest airline in Russia, have stopped doing international flights for the moment. A lot of airliners refuse to come into the country, and this is all because of the complicated insurance policies of the airlines, as well as accessibility to parts to repair the aircraft. You know, the airline industry is one that is incredibly international. Some countries will have a very specific tiny part that they manufacture, and these aircraft need to be constantly updated and maintained. And as well as that, Russian aircraft, like the aircraft themselves, are from places like Boeing or Airbus, which have also issued sanctions against Russia, meaning that if these planes leave Russia and go to the wrong place, they can be seized and not returned to Russia. And Aeroflot and other Russian airlines really do not want this to happen to them. So it's been really difficult getting flights out of the country. Air ticket prices are much more expensive. There's very few airlines you can fly on without them getting canceled. Now I just wanted to talk about what's next for me individually. So I am Russian, obviously. I love Russia. I love the culture, the history, the people, everything. It's just absolutely amazing to me. The past few weeks have been really difficult for me and really wrought with lots of indecision. I've received so many kind, generous, amazing messages from all of you, literally hundreds. I can't even get to all of them. And I've also received quite a few messages that are like, what the hell are you still doing there? Why haven't you left yet? And I've just been really indecisive about the whole thing. I have a job here. I have an apartment here. This is my home now. I was planning on staying here for much longer. But with everything that's going on, I made the really difficult decision to leave Russia. I'm not sure when or even if I'll come back, but I really feel like it's the best for me to have some space right now from this country. And I'm not headed back to the US. So what I am doing instead, I'm headed to Istanbul, Turkey with another YouTube friend, my friend Dari Stepp. She's also Russian. And we're just gonna go over there, have some space from the country, and just watch from afar, because this situation is so unstable at the moment. Nobody really knows what can happen. Like, Moscow is very safe, obviously, very far away from any violence that's happening, but you just never know what can happen. And I'm so sad. Really, I'm so heartbroken. I've spent so many hours crying over this decision. Like, I've packed up my whole apartment and then unpacked everything because I've just been so indecisive about it all. And yeah, that kind of covers what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, there's so much more I could talk about. The situation is so complicated and changing so rapidly. There's no way I could mention everything, but I kind of just wanted to give you guys a little overview of what's happening in Moscow at the moment and what my plans are for the future. If you guys have any questions about anything I've said, please leave a comment below and I will do my best to get back to you about that. And I hope this video has been somewhat informative. I'll see you next time. Next time I see you in a video, it will be me moving to Turkey. And I am really nervous about the move, going through passport control and everything with my Russian passport, but we'll go over that in that next video. So until next time, friends, see you later. Bye.